Welcome to Batman No Man's Land, right here at Comicstorian. My name is Benny, and I'm your narrator for your favorite comic books, video games, and movies. Today we're going to be continuing our storyline of Batman No Man's Land. Batman No Man's Land is a story that came out in the 90s where Gotham was separated from the rest of the world, and everyone, including Batman and the supervillains, created their own gangs and sectioned off Gotham and went to war as to who would take control. Today's going to be a shorter story as, honestly, I messed up pacing out these episodes. But don't forget to check out the playlist down below and like this video if you want more Batman No Man's Land. I'll explain more at the end of the video, but here we go. As Batman goes out on patrol, he notices something coming out of Chinatown. Across the dark Gotham, he sees bright neon lights where there should only be candlelight and open flames. As he gets down there, he sees a group of men frozen in place, hauling a trailer full of furniture. This could only be the work of Mr. Freeze, but these men, they have the tags of the Jade Leopards. Wrong gang for this street. This is Ghost Dragon turf. And why furniture? Is Freeze cornering the market on Asian antiques? But before Batman could think any further on the case, a group of Ghost Dragon thugs appear telling him that he's in the wrong part of town, Kate man. You should get lost before you get hurt. Batman says that he doesn't see anything that could possibly hurt him. One of the men charges forward with a chain and sickle, but Batman grabs the chain, wrapping it around the man's neck. He kicks the man with a knife and he knees the first thug in the face. The third man has nunchucks and he lunges at Batman, who takes the sickle, cutting the chain on the nunchucks, throwing them to the side. The last man runs in with a pair of sais, but Batman swings the sickle back, disarming him. The man falls back, begging him to not kill him, and Batman tells him, "I don't kill, but you will tell me why Freeze is involved with Chinatown disputes." The man then says that they supply Freeze with stuff to burn, and in turn, Freeze gives them a cable to run for power. The leopards have been trying to cut into their action, and well, this is what happened. So Batman asks, "Where is Freeze now?" The man points off in the distance towards a giant ice castle next to a running power plant, telling him that he is there. So a short while later, at the loading dock for the power plant, Freeze's thugs toss more furniture into the furnace when their next supply rings in. They begin to start unloading and Batman jumps out of one of the closets, taking the men down. Up the tower, Freeze looks out, telling himself that there is so much evil and anger out there. This is the destruction of the infrastructure. He is stripping Gotham down to its bare bones. This is the pillaging of the city that the accursed Batman holds so dear. Soon, everything he cares about will be brought down and degraded. Batman will see anarchy reign where the rule of law once held sway. Batman, he never understood his reason for becoming Mr. Freeze. He just wanted to save his beloved Nora. He froze her in hopes that she would thaw once a cure was found for her disease. But the meddling Batman ruined it. Because of him, Nora was taken away and shattered before his very eyes. He swears to her that he shall get his revenge against the Batman. Batman then asks, "Is that what Nora would have really wanted? By all accounts, Nora was a kind and gentle, loving person. Is this any way to memorialize her?" Freeze grabs his freeze ray, shouting, "There's only one thing that can block my pain. Sweet vengeance." He fires a freeze blast at Batman, but as he dodges, Batman tells him, "Revenge is not sweet. It is a bitter pill, and that pill is erosive. It eats away at your soul. Are you forgetting that you're the one who shattered the frozen body of Nora?" Freeze yells that it was because of him that it happened. He put himself into that position so that Nora would get shattered during their fight. Freeze begins to close in on Batman, and he sees Batman grabbing something from his pouch, throwing it to the side. Batman throws the Batarang, telling him, "These things always have a way of coming back, though." And the Batarang whips back, knocking the freeze ray out of Freeze's hands. He jumps up, grabbing the ray gun, asking, "Did you really think that it would end like this? You've never fought a foe as clever as I am." And Freeze creates a slide going down, then he shoots himself back up and starts to freeze Batman in place. Freeze then tells him that in just a few seconds, ice crystals will form in the soft tissues, making the defrosting process extremely painful, if not fatal. As Freeze begins to laugh, there's a rumble and a loud crack as the castle begins to break apart. And Freeze asks what's going on. And that's when the workers down at the power plant radio stating that it was Batman. He stoked the fires and the burners and he opened up all of the valves. The second worker yells that there's nothing that they can do. They need to get out of here before the entire place explodes. The furnaces all begin to start exploding, shooting fire everywhere, and Freeze shouts, stating that Batman sabotaged the power plant before he came up here. Batman breaks out of his half-melted frozen prison, stating, "That's right. As every chess player knows, it doesn't matter how clever you are if you can think 5 moves ahead. He tackles into Freeze, but Freeze grabs him, getting ready to throw him off the balcony. But before he can, the floor cracks and the two begin to fall down towards the fires. They land on a thin bridge and they immediately go after one another, kicking and punching over and over again. But then there's another explosion, taking out the rest of the power plant and Freeze's castle. Batman dives headfirst into the water below, asking Freeze if he concedes yet. Freeze shouts, "Never!" and he hits the water and the two quickly swim towards land. Batman pulls himself up onto the docks with Freeze yelling that, "I will not be made a prisoner. I will return." And Freeze floats away in a chunk of ice with Batman staring at him, telling him, "I'm waiting for your return." And that concludes Power Play in the Batman No Man's Land saga. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Batman No Man's Land is broken up into a bunch of short stories about Batman trying to retake Gotham, which is why it's such a great storyline in general. It's long, it's sprawling, but it can all be handled as individual plot lines. The problem is, it's broken into multiple giant volumes, and I've been bringing you a short story at a time. And we kind of ran out of short stories, and I wasn't tracking that we had run out of Volume 2. So we're already working on Volume 3. We will have it next Sunday. But today's episode is super short because it was the last story in the volume and I wasn't tracking it was the last story in the volume. It's entirely my fault. If you want to support this channel and make sure that videos like this keep happening, consider going to our Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian, where you can get early access to a lot of our videos along with unedited versions of our podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get Batman No Man's Land every Sunday. And I'll see you next week right here.